Billy, thanks so much for this morning.
Oh, my pleasure.
I knew nothing about landlord-tenant, and now I've learned so much. It seems like in the residential arena that you really have to know what jurisdiction you're in, right?
The jurisdiction is a big challenge for landlords because, as we discussed earlier, a lot of nuances exist jurisdiction to jurisdiction. So DC is very different than Montgomery County. Montgomery County is different than Baltimore City. And then all of those are different than Virginia. So it's really important to know where you are.
And even county to county, it seems like it varies within Maryland, right?
It does. Montgomery, Howard, Prince George's, they're all a little bit different.
So is there any effort to sort of make consistency even within the state? Or do landlords and tenants really just have to be aware of what they're doing in each jurisdiction?
Are you asking me a political question in this election year?
I didn't intend to.
So I think, DC obviously is its own animal really, and they do things the way they want there. Maryland, you've got statutes, but as you probably know from practicing in different counties, each county is a little bit different, and they
Right.
kind of like to have things their way. So
Right.
I don't anticipate that there's going to be any move to homogenize the rules as they apply to landlord and tenant relationships.
So that's tenant beware, landlord beware, right?
I think that's fair. Yep.
Okay. In the commercial space, you talked about the fact that things are becoming more tenant friendly. Is that right?
It really depends upon the market, and I think that tenants need to be aware that they need to take control of negotiations on the front end of those situations, and depending upon where they are and where their space is, they may have more leverage because there may be vacancies or there may be an area that's underserved by a particular kind of commercial tenant.
And it sounds like the absolute must or absolute do not is not to give a personal guarantee.
If you can avoid it, do not give a personal guarantee in a commercial lease. And there are going to be situations where you have to do something, as we talked about, and it's important to be aware that you can negotiate that. It's not cut and dry. It's not going to be personally guarantee the lease, or else usually you can go back to the landlord and talk with the landlord about what their initial expenditure is and figure out a way to make them whole there.
So how do people realize that they have the wherewithal to negotiate these things?
Well, a lot of them don't, I think. As we sort of say in our practice area on the commercial side, you're either going to need a landlord at the beginning, a lawyer at the beginning. And if you don't get one at the beginning, you're certainly going to need one on the way out. But it really, in our experience, makes sense for commercial tenants to take the time, get some advice, and figure out what they're signing before they enter into this long-term, potentially really long-term relationship with a landlord.
So it sounds like whether an individual is a landlord or whether the individual is a tenant, or no matter what their experience has been in the past, they really need the benefit of expertise in this area, right?
It's short-sighted in my opinion, and I think in the experience of a lot of our clients, to not get advice when you go through this process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate you traveling from Bethesda to Maple Lawn to engage our group this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you again and continuing to learn more about landlord-tenant work.
Likewise.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Linda.